The New York Islanders did get a point, but once again, they saw a third period lead evaporate. We'll break down the good, the bad, and the ugly from this game, including the return of Alexander Romanov. We've got that and more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You could start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. If you win that first $5 bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. We have got a lot to discuss. The Islanders, wow. Tell me if you've heard this one before, right? I mean, the team plays a pretty good game. They have a lead going into the third period. The special teams struggle. The lead disappears. They lose in either overtime or a shootout, in this case, a shootout. And look, I mean, again, there's different ways to look at last night's game. You could take the pessimist's view and say, hey, same old story, same old act. Islanders, blew the lead. Special teams were terrible. Oh my gosh. This team, not living up to what they should be doing, giving points away, leaving points on the ice. And you'd be right about all of those things. Plenty of chances to score, can't finish. Yep, that happened again too. Or you could take the optimist's view of things. Hey, the Islanders managed to get another point. They're on a 5-game road trip right now, and they have 4 points in the first 4 games. If they can get 1 point Thursday in Detroit, despite all the injuries, despite all the issues that this team is dealing with, they can finish this road trip with a .500 record, stay close, pick up points each and every night, and once everybody's healthy, they can still be within range in order to fight for a playoff spot. And, both of those things are true. There was definitely some encouraging things in this game. And obviously the return of Alexander Romanov is got to be at the top of the list as far as the long-term situation is concerned. And Romanov played 21 minutes and 4 seconds, maybe a little bit less than what he would normally play under the circumstances. But, that's okay. And let it be. Let him come back gradually. Alexander Romanov, not holding back. He had 8 hits and 3 block shots in this game. So for those of you who are worried that Romanov would not be ready or would have to come back slowly or however you might want to put it, Romanov came back and did his thing. And that you got to give him credit for. Romanov was, great, and it's great to have him back. Now you're only down 2 defensemen, and if you consider that Isaiah George may very well be an upgrade over, some of the guys who are out of the lineup, well, if you think he'll be one of the top 6 after, Pelech returns and eventually Riley, but I think Mike Riley we have to put way on the back burner right now. Then you're really down 1 defenseman, maybe 1.5 defensemen if you want to look at it that way. So slowly getting a little healthier on the blue line. As far as Mike Riley, by the way, and I'll just, he posted a photo on social media post-surgery thanking the doctor. Thankfully, it seems like everything went well. And again, we wish a complete and speedy recovery to Mike Riley because, there are things here that are much more important than hockey. Semyon Varlamov played a really good game. If we're sticking with the good, Varley, 30 saves and 31 shots. Some of them were really good saves. And he kept this team in this game. There were times, especially in the third period, where it just looked like after the Flames tied it, that they had the momentum. They had some good scoring chances. Varley said no more. And he gave a really solid performance for the Islanders last night. And you can't ask for more. Here's the backup goalie, probably only playing once a week, on the road, 30 saves and 31 shots, and just gives the team a feeling of confidence. And you like to see that. Other positives, how about Pierre Engvall? Third straight game with a goal. And again, getting goals because he's going to the net and doing the things that Patrick Roy said he needed to do. Great to see him do that. And, the Islanders benefiting from his stronger play. It's the little things. It is the little things. And, everydayers, I've said this before. He's never going to be a really physical guy. But Engvall's speed, his reach, his ability to do certain things can make him a productive third-line player in this league who can occasionally, if there are injuries, move up to the second line. I think he really is not a top six guy, but he's useful if he pays the price. He's been paying the price. That goal that he scored, the only Islanders goal of the game, that toe drag on that play was a goal scorer's goal, okay? And look, I'm not expecting that we'll see that every game, but great to see him playing well. And now, again, the key, if you are Pierre Engvall, the key is now go do that consistently. If he can do that, he not only stays in the lineup, he can be a contributor, a valuable contributor. Too often, when Pierre Engvall doesn't go to the net, doesn't pay the price, doesn't do the little things away from the puck that Patrick Roy and the coaching staff want to see from him, he's a passenger. And the Islanders too often in the past have had too many passengers. When you start converting passengers to guys who are rowing the boat, that is when the team does better. The other thing that I liked about this game, that they did manage 29 shots on goal, a respectable number. All 9 members of the top 3 lines, forward-wise, had at least 1 shot on goal. The fourth line, McLean, Martin, and Wahlstrom, between them, 0 shots on goal, and they were out there for 9 minutes, 10 minutes and 17 seconds, 11 minutes and 2 seconds, respectively, for Martin, McLean, and Wahlstrom. So whatever it is, that fourth line has not yet found any kind of offensive rhythm or contribution. They're not clicking, at least not offensively. Can't say they're doing great things defensively. They're not physically setting the tone. So other than resting the other 3 lines right now, you can't say that the fourth line is contributing a lot. whether you want to put Hudson Fasching in the lineup to try to mix things up and sit Matt Martin or sit Oliver Wahlstrom for a game or two, that's maybe an option. But, we've tried that before. Patrick Waugh has done that, and the results remain, well, very much the same. But again, the top three lines, everybody having at least one shot, that is a positive. And, again, the face-off circle, Kyle McLean, 5 out of 7. Brock Nelson, 14 out of 21. Bo Horvat, 8 out of 13. JG Pajot, 7 out of 10. Those are important things. Those are the things you need to do, the little things that a team that struggles to score like the Islanders needs to do to win. All right, we talked about some of the good stuff. We got to get to some of the things that were disappointing about this game. We'll talk about that. We'll have our hero and go to the game. We also have our weekly farm report on all things Bridgeport Islanders. And, for our Islanders birthday of the day, a goalie who was with the Islanders for part of the 93-94 season. You may better know him as a Buffalo Sabre. But we'll see if you can guess who this player is. Spent 4 years at the University of Vermont. I know that's not a big clue, but we'll see if you can get who that is. We've got all that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. And Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And, one of the beautiful things about Prize Picks, look, you could say Nathan McKinnon, more than half a goal in a game, or Evander Kane, more than 1.5 hits. These are the kind of things that you need to predict to win money on Prize Picks. Just download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's download the app, use code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win in order to get that bonus. So head on over to Prize Picks. Prize Picks, run your game. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I love the view from your seat feature on the app. You just log on to the app and you get a panoramic view from your seat before you purchase the tickets, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So, too many familiar issues for the Islanders again. They had their chances to score, couldn't finish. Almost 30 shots on goal in this game, and some of them were high danger chances, but again, they just didn't seem to be able, when they had the chance, the puck goes right into the goalie's pads or into the crest on their jersey. And look, let's give credit where credit is due, okay? He may not be a household name, but let's give Dustin Wolf credit. I mean, he made 28 saves. Many of them were really good saves. And, you just sometimes you tip your hat to the opposing goalie. And I think in this case, Dustin Wolf definitely deserves a lot of credit. Special teams. Where do I even begin with special teams? The good news, well, the Islanders only took one penalty. And of course, it was in the third period when they held that 1-0 lead and Scott Mayfield trips Andrei Kuzmenko. And, you know, I root for Scott Mayfield. I want to see him play better, but he does take too many of those just unnecessary penalties. And, he's not the only one. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, it's all because of Scott Mayfield that no. But, he's got 17 penalty minutes, which right now leads the team. And he's got to clean that up. He's got to clean that up because the penalty kill is terrible. And, when we previewed this game on yesterday's show, everydayers will remember, we talked about that the Flames special teams are just as bad, if not worse, than the Islanders. Well, the Flames got 2 points in this game because of their special teams. The only Calgary goal, Rasmus Andersson scores on the power play. The Islanders had 3 chances on the power play, including one in overtime where it's 4-on-3. So the Islanders penalty kill, 0 for 1. They let in a goal in the only power play chance that they allowed. The Islanders power play, 0 for 3, including one in overtime. Yeah, it was only 1:07, but the one thing that all of these power plays, especially the 2 in regulation, had in common, not only did the Islanders not score, and I can live with that. You're not always going to score. A good power play will score 1 out of every 4 times they're out there on the ice, okay? A great power play, 3 out of 10. All right? It's almost like being a hitter in baseball. You hit 275, you're doing well. You hit 300, you're an all-star. But they didn't even get a sniff on those first 2 power play chances. They couldn't get into the zone and maintain possession of the puck to even set up. I mean, I think they had, 1 shot on goal in the first power play and none in the second, or maybe 1, but it wasn't a good chance, and it was easily handled by Wolf. This team, and I know they're missing Matthew Barzal, who is sort of the most important guy on their power play. And I know that they're missing Anthony Duclair, who is also really good on the power play. But you know what? Show me some life. I don't need you to be hitting on all cylinders on the power play. I don't expect with 2 of your 3 first-line players out of the lineup that the power play is going to be top 5 in the league right now. But show me a little life. Show me that you at least know what you're trying to do. The Islanders' power play came into this game 31st in the league, 13%. And they went 0 for 3 in this game. The penalty kill came in 29th in the league, and they let in a goal on the only opportunity they allowed. They came into the game with a 69.2% penalty kill rate. Special teams are killing us. They're absolutely killing us right now. And if the Islanders can't fix the special teams, it's going to keep costing them points. And look, you get a point on a 5-game road trip, 4 games in, you're 4 points. You're shorthanded with, 2 defensemen now, previously 3 out of the lineup, 2 of your top 3 forwards. Yeah, if you could finish with 5 or 6 points on this road trip, you get at least a point Thursday in Detroit. I'll live with that. That was the goal going in. But over the course of the season, if you don't get out of the bottom 5 in the league, both on the power play and on the PK, you will not make the playoffs. And if you do, you won't go anywhere. You've got to be better on special teams. And it's got to be, I understand they're a little short on talent on the power play right now, but it's got to be coached up right. They've got to have movement. They've got to pass the puck. They've got to have a couple of zone entry strategies that work. This team can't hold on to the puck. They can't enter the zone cleanly. They can't dump and chase. They can't hold on to the puck. They lose all their 50-50 puck battles, and then the puck just goes out of the zone, and then they try to get it back in, and there's a bad pass. It's a comedy of errors out there, and that has to get cleaned up. All right. Hero and GOAT of the game. For the hero, I'm going to split it. Pierre Engvall for his third straight game with a goal, and Semyon Varlamov for his really good play. And for the GOAT, I hate to do it, I'm going with Scott Mayfield for taking that bad, unnecessary penalty that put the Islanders on the PK, that led to the tying goal, and ended up, the game goes to overtime because of that. So, I mean, I could just say special teams if I don't want to pick on Scott Mayfield, and I don't want to pick on the guy. I mean, he was still a +1 in the game, but, you can't take that penalty. So for now, I'm gonna lean toward Mayfield, but special teams in general, just dreadful right now. And this team absolutely has to be better in that area. All right, we've got more to get to on today's show. We've got our weekly farm report. Some good news out of Bridgeport for a change. We'll talk about that. We'll have our Islanders birthday of the day, all that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. And Islander fans, use your knowledge of the game of hockey and the Islanders to place some good bets on FanDuel. Check out the latest odds for Thursday's game in Detroit on the FanDuel app. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I want to thank everyone for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So guess what? The Bridgeport Islanders had a really good weekend. They scored 6 goals on Friday to beat the Hershey Bears 6-1. And Hershey came in 10-3-1 in this game. 14 different Islanders had at least a point. 2 goals for Frederick Karlstrom, 2 assists for Chris Terry, playing in his 1,000th professional game. A goal and an assist each for Tice Thompson and Matthew Maggio, and Jakob Skarek made 28 saves to get the win. That was the first of a 3-game road trip for Bridgeport. Then the next day, or the next evening, the Islanders face the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins and come away with another win, 5-2. Brian Pinot, a goal and 2 assists in this game. Liam Foudy got the go-ahead goal. It was 2-2 early in the third period when he ends up breaking the tie, and he had 8 shots on goal in the game. Julien Gauthier had a goal. Cole Bardreau had 2 empty netters to wrap up the win. And great to see the Islanders get the victory. And first win of the year for Marcus Hogberg. He had 29 saves. And that means that, The Islanders are now 1-0-2 in his last 3 starts. So 2 wins in 2 games, pretty impressive right there. A good week for Bridgeport. Brian Pinho right now leading the team with 10 goals and with 16 points. Chris Terry, 13 assists. He's second on the team with 14 points. Alex Jeffries, 9 points in 11 games. Frederick Karlstrom, 8 goals, no assists. He's the Cy Young candidate right now through 15 games. And then Samuel Bolduc leading all defensemen with 3 goals and 8 points in 15 games. Matthew Maggio, a goal and 6 points in 13 games. William Dufour, 2 goals, 2 assists, so 4 points in 14 games. And yeah, he's a -6. So he's still kind of struggling right now. As far as the goalies are concerned, Jakub Skarek, a .289 goals against average. He is 3-5-0 on the year. And he has a .900 save percentage. Marcus Hogberg, 1-3-2 on the year, a .360 goals against, and an .890 save percentage. In the standings, Bridgeport still in 8th place in the Atlantic Division. They are 4-9-1-1 on the year, 10 points. They were 3 points behind 7th place Springfield with 57 games left. Now, busy weekend coming up for the Bridgeport Islanders. They close out the 3-game road trip at Wilkes-Barre Scranton on Friday. That's a 7:05 Eastern time start. Then on Saturday, back home to Bridgeport, a 7 o'clock Eastern time start as Bridgeport hosts the Charlotte Checkers. And then Sunday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the Islanders visit the Hartford Wolfpack as the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers AHL edition continues. So check out all that action. You can watch the games on AHL TV, or you could head up to either Bridgeport or Hartford and catch the games in person. You could see some of the Islanders prospects before they reach the island. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And today is the 58th birthday of former Islanders goalie Tom Draper. Draper, an 8th round pick of the Winnipeg Jets back in 1985, played 4 years for the University of Vermont, and then joined the Jets in 88-89 for a few games. Became a full-time NHLer in 91-92 with the Buffalo Sabres, and then joined the Islanders for 7 games in the 93-94 season. Had a .423 goals against average, a 1-3 record, and an .864 save percentage. Played 1 more NHL game after leaving the island with the Winnipeg Jets in 95-96, and then played in the minors or in Europe until hanging up his skates after the 03-04 season. 53 career NHL games. He was 19-23-5, a .370 goals against average, and an .877 save percentage. His best game as an Islander, it's easy. October 29th, 1993, Islanders visiting the Tampa Bay Lightning at the old Thunderdome in Tampa. And the goalies, obviously, Tom Draper for the Islanders, and Pat Jablonski gets the start for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the Islanders end up, based on 2 goals by Derek King, to beat the Lightning by a final score of 4-2. Our Islanders' birthday of the day, Tom Draper, 26 saves. He faced 28 shots. Islanders outshot 28-19, but they still managed the win, and a solid performance by Tom Draper. Tom Draper, briefly an Islander in the mid-90s. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Don't forget, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can email the show. LockedOnIslanders@gmail.com is the address. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You can also follow the show on X at Locked On Isles. And you can follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I'm live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for some instant insight and analysis. And it's always great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. We will be back tomorrow, everydayers. We will preview the game against the Detroit Red Wings. That should be a good one, and hopefully the Islanders can get at least one more point and close out this road trip with the 5 points in 5 games that we were hoping for. We will preview that. We'll have some injury updates and the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. So make sure you join us for that. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.